We're gonna watch this. All right, y'all. We got the night Lil Mama messed up. The night Lil Mama messed with Jay-Z and Alicia Keys and lost everything. She lost everything, man. Let's get into it. I remember this, bruh. I literally remember this happening.
I'm sitting in my seat, 2 rows away from the stage, and Jay-Z's walking through this tunnel, and it's just like this whole adrenaline rush is just pumping. He comes on stage and he's singing New York. Jay-Z wasn't feeling that. Jay-Z feels like I disrespected him as opposed to praising him.
I can understand the feeling disrespected. You feel me? Because you messing up my moment by doing that. You feel me? Be excited. Get caught on the camera, on the crowd camera or whatever. But don't come up here for my moment. You know what I'm saying? But I can also understand how he could have took it and just kind of like ran with it. You feel what I'm saying?
Respecting him, honoring him, sharing that moment with him.
September 13th.
But the thing is if it was meant to be shared with him, he would have asked you to do that. You feel what I'm saying?
2009. Lil Mama walked onto the VMAs stage during Jay-Z and Alicia Keys' Empire State of Mind performance. Jay-Z's face
Look at his
said
reaction.
everything.
He's like, what the f?
Jay-Z's face said everything. He stepped back, visibly annoyed. Alicia Keys pretended she didn't exist.
Like, you know, I was definitely caught up in the moment. And
You had to be super excited to do that.
backing up. And when I got home, I realized he said, "Oh, you gonna see pain it, huh?" I realized it's now that I'm home.
Right.
Then he walked away.
30 seconds on stage.
What?
It's now when I got home, caught up in the moment. And you know, he was backing up. And when I got home, I realized he said, "Oh, you gonna see pain it, huh?" I realized it's now that I'm home.
Right.
Then he walked away.
30 seconds on stage. 15 years of career destruction. Even Beyonce tried to stop her before it happened. But what really destroyed Lil Mama?
What the hell? If Beyonce tried to stop you, then you should have. Man.
Of career destruction.
And Lil Mama was blowing. She was blowing.
Beyonce tried to stop her before it happened.
Damn.
But what really destroyed Lil Mama wasn't just interrupting the performance, it was what Jay-Z did next. So let's get into it. In 2009, Nyasha Lil Mama Kirkland was living every young rapper's dream. At just 19 years old, she had conquered the charts with Lip Gloss, a bubblegum anthem that defined a generation of teenage girls. MTV had crowned her the host of America's Best Dance Crew, giving her a weekly platform alongside Randy Jackson and JC Chases. Her debut album, VYP, Voice of the Young People, had established her as hip-hop's premier female voice for Gen Z. But behind the success, Lil Mama was struggling with something no amount of fame could fix: grief.
Okay, so in 2007, when I went to shoot Shorty Get Loose the next day after my mother's funeral, I was ready tapping out. They was like, "You got to finish the album."
2 years earlier, Lil Mama had lost her mother to breast cancer. While other teenagers were worrying about prom dates and college applications, she was balancing a music career with watching her mother fade away.
Damn.
The industry didn't pause for her pain. Deadlines
That's tough, bro. That's tough.
Remained deadlines. Performances still needed to happen, and the machine kept grinding forward. By 2008, despite her outward success, Lil Mama was internally done. The album release felt hollow without her mother there to celebrate. The television hosting duties became a way to stay afloat financially while processing her trauma. She was making between $40,000 and $70,000 per week on America's Best.
A week? A fucking week? Damn.
dance crew. But money couldn't fill the void where her biggest supporter
Of
used
course
to
not.
be. September 13th, 2009, her grandmother's birthday was supposed to be a special night. The MTV VMAs were returning to New York City, and Lil Mama had earned her place among hip-hop royalty. She arrived late to the ceremony, missing the explosive moments that would define the evening. Kanye West interrupting Taylor Swift's acceptance
I remember
speech.
that too.
Janet Jackson's emotional tribute to her brother Michael,
Remember
who
that
had
too.
died just months earlier.
So he sits me down in the second row. Mind you, I done missed everything from like all of the controversial stuff that took place that night. Like with Taylor and, Janet and everything.
The cameraman from her TV show had upgraded her seating, moving her from the back rows to the second row, right behind Lady Gaga. She was 2 rows away from the stage when Jay-Z began his entrance for what would become one of the most iconic VMA performances in history.
I'm sitting in my seat, 2 rows away from the stage, and Jay-Z is walking through this tunnel, and it's just like this whole adrenaline rush is just pumping. He comes on stage and he's singing "New."
The moment Jay-Z walked through that tunnel, something shifted in the atmosphere. The energy was electric, the crowd was losing their minds, and then Alicia Keys joined him for Empire State of Mind, the song that would become New York's unofficial anthem. For Lil Mama, watching 2 artists she deeply respected celebrate their shared hometown hit different. This wasn't just entertainment. This was personal. She was a Brooklyn native watching Brooklyn royalty claim their crown. The song spoke directly to her experiences growing up in the projects, hustling to make it out, carrying the dreams of everyone who
I still want to know, beyond the adrenaline rush, beyond being from New York, all that. What was it that said, go up there? You know what I'm saying? Because you could have turned the fuck up in your seat and caught the camera attention. You could have turned up in your seat and caught the camera attention. So I want to know, like, what was it that was like the final straw to where you was like, I'm going up there. You feel what I'm saying?
like her. What happened next would haunt her for the next 15 years. Caught up in the euphoria of the moment, feeling the pull of her city's anthem, Lil Mama stood up and walked toward the stage. In her mind, she wasn't interrupting. She was joining a celebration of everything that made her who she was. But perception is reality in entertainment, and her reality was about to become a
That's
nightmare.
crazy, bro.
As Lil
You know how many people from New York was in that room and stayed in their seat?
she was. But perception is reality in entertainment, and her reality was about to become a
That's
nightmare.
crazy.
As Lil Mama made her way onto the stage, she was operating from pure emotion. In her mind, this was a family moment. Brooklyn supporting Brooklyn, young New York honoring the legends who paved the way.
That's
She
wild.
positioned herself next to Jay-Z, nodding along to the music, genuinely feeling like she was part of something historic. But Jay-Z's reaction told a different story entirely. The body language was unmistakable. As Lil Mama approached, Jay-Z stepped back. His facial expression shifted from performance mode to visible annoyance. This wasn't the welcoming energy she had expected from someone she considered hip-hop family.
That's
When I told the
crazy.
person next to me, I'm going up there. He got up, moved. I went around. I went to B. I was like, you coming? She was like, oh, what? Like,
You sound just like
classic B.
Even Beyoncé, sitting in the front row, had tried to stop the disaster from unfolding. When Lil Mama announced her intentions to the person sitting next to her, they immediately got up and moved.
But
She
why?
approached Beyoncé, asking if she wanted to join her on stage. Beyoncé's confused response, "Oh, what?" should have been the warning sign that this wasn't the communal celebration Lil Mama imagined it to be. But she was already committed. The momentum carried her forward, even as every
It was crazy. Her thought process to this was so crazy because, like, every time the narrator say she was thinking of it like as a celebration, like a family celebration, and a nod to everything that she done been through, and you know, she from Brooklyn. I don't give a fuck about none of that, bruh. I still wouldn't have went up there. You crashed. You crashed their performance, bruh. Don't none of that shit y'all talking about matter. It don't matter. If you wasn't invited, you don't go. Like, that shit ain't even make sense, man.
Sign pointed toward impending catastrophe. The performance continued, with Lil Mama standing awkwardly to the side, trying to vibe with the music while Jay-Z pointedly
she created a historic moment for sure. She kind of fucked herself up with it though. She fucked her career with that shit.
ignored her presence. Alicia Keys, so focused on delivering a flawless performance, didn't even realize what was happening. Years later, Keys would admit she never saw Lil Mama on stage because she was so locked into the music. The immediate aftermath was confusion and panic. Lil Mama genuinely believed she had shared a bonding moment with two artists she revered.
But what the fuck made you believe that? That's the question. What made you believe that?
The idea that her actions could be seen as offensive or disrespectful hadn't crossed her mind. She was operating from a place of pure fandom and hometown pride, not calculating career advancement. But in an industry where power dynamics dictate everything, intention means nothing if the perception is negative.
Fact.
And Jay-Z's perception was crystal clear. This young woman had disrespected him on one of the biggest stages in music.
Jay-Z wasn't feeling that. Jay-Z feels like I disrespected him as opposed to praising him, respecting him, honoring him, sharing that moment with him.
Lil Mama would spend the next decade and a half.
I don't understand the logic, bruh. I can understand the disrespect. It's a lot of people in that room who praised and praised Jay-Z, and they stayed in their seats. It's a lot of people from New York in that room that stayed in their seats. It was a lot of people overtaken by adrenaline, and they stayed in their seats, bruh. Damn, man.
Trying to explain that her intentions were pure. She wasn't trying to steal anyone's moment or hijack their performance. She was a young woman who got caught up in the emotion of seeing her city celebrated on the world's biggest stage. But explanations don't matter when you've crossed the wrong person. And in hip-hop, there is no one more wrong to cross than Jay-Z. The phone started ringing before Lil Mama even made it home. Tyrese was the first to call, confused about whether she had been an official part of the performance. Her heart was already racing from the adrenaline and embarrassment of the moment, and now she had to field questions she wasn't prepared to answer.
Tyrese called my phone as soon as I got home. He was like, yo, playing. And then when that ass was on there going, ah. Nah, let me stop. But no, seriously. Tyrese had hit my phone. He was like, bro, you ain't tell me you was performing.
But Tyrese's call was just the beginning. By morning, every major media personality in hip-hop and R&B was weighing in on what was already being called one of the most cringeworthy moments in VMA history.
Yeah.
Wendy Williams led the charge with her signature blend of shock
Why the
and
fuck you got a picture of Tyrese up there while you talking about Wendy Williams? That's not Wendy Williams. See, y'all didn't watch this video. Y'all didn't watch this video after editing, because you would have caught that. Y'all edited this video and then y'all just uploaded it. No, you gotta watch it after you edit it.
judgment. The Breakfast Club crew dissected every second of the incident with their morning audience. Ed Lover, a respected voice in hip-hop radio, offered his analysis. But the most devastating blow came from Angie Martinez, who actually spoke directly to Jay-Z about the incident.
Eventually, Angie Martinez, who she talked to Jay, and he was just like, yeah, I didn't like it and everything, and and he was so angry.
When Jay-Z told Angie Martinez that he didn't like it and that he was angry, those words carried the weight of a career death sentence. This wasn't just an artist expressing mild annoyance. This was hip-hop royalty publicly expressing displeasure with a much younger, much less powerful artist.
Yeah.
What hurt Lil Mama most wasn't just the criticism. It was the complete absence of protection from the industry leaders who should have guided her through the crisis. Instead of offering mentorship or even basic human decency to a grieving young woman who had made a mistake, the hip-hop community chose to participate in her public humiliation. The narrative quickly shifted from young artist makes emotional mistake to disrespectful wannabe tries to hijack legend's moment.
Damn.
Every blog, every radio show, every entertainment news program reinforced the same story. Lil Mama had crossed a line, and she needed to be punished for it.
I think I was the first person to get super roasted on Twitter.
Right.
I think I was the first one to get really, like, you talking about getting it back? Oh, no, I couldn't take it. I was sick. I was like, this is not right. What is this?
X was still relatively new in 2009, but Lil Mama became one of the first celebrities to experience the full force of social media mob mentality. The platform that had once been a tool for connecting with fans became a weapon of mass humiliation. Celebrities joined regular users in making jokes at her expense, creating a feedback loop of ridicule that seemed to have no
That's
end.
crazy.
I was sick. I was like, this is not right. What is this? No, I'm not going through this. Not right now in my life. But yeah, they got me good on Twitter. Woo, they got me.
They ate her ass
The
up,
timing
Chad.
couldn't have been worse. Lil Mama was already dealing with the loss of her mother, already questioning her place in an industry that had forced her to work the day after her mother's funeral. Now, she was facing a level of public humiliation that would have broken most people. But the worst part wasn't the strangers on the internet. It was the silence from the people who mattered most. While Lil Mama has never directly accused Jay-Z of orchestrating a campaign against her, the pattern that emerged after the VMAs incident speaks for itself.
Look how she had to step in.
Opportunities that should have been natural fits for her began disappearing. Record deals became harder to secure. Collaborations dried up. The industry machine that had once embraced her suddenly turned cold. What made the silence particularly painful was understanding Jay-Z's own character. Lil Mama had
Nah, they ain't have to do all that, but you know how they go with power. Even Jay-Z, the type of that ain't gotta say and gonna follow. I don't know if he did or did tell the to stop for her. You know what I'm saying? But if he didn't, I feel like he the type of who ain't gotta say it. They just follow. Oh, that's Jay. I've been rocking with Jay longer. Da 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 da. Oh, she pissed Jay off. Yeah.
studied his career long before the incident, watching how he handled his own controversies and conflicts. She knew he wasn't someone who typically engaged in public feuds with much smaller artists. His silence wasn't mercy, it was strategic.
Of course that hurt it, bro. That shit hurt it. I'm sitting up there looking like Anita Baker, like, I apologize. On every damn episode, I'm going to Tyra Banks, going to this one, that one.
The apology tour became a form of public penance that lasted for years. Lil Mama appeared on every show that would have her. Tyra Banks, various radio programs, podcasts, anywhere she could attempt to explain her side of the story. But each appearance only reinforced the narrative that she had done something wrong and needed to keep asking for forgiveness. The psychological toll was devastating. In later interviews, Lil Mama would reveal that while she never felt, she could understand how someone in her situation might reach that point.
She never felt what?
The isolation, the constant criticism, the feeling that an entire industry had turned against her. It was enough to break anyone's spirit.
You could feel so alone that you don't want to be here anymore. Or you could feel so beat up on that it's like, damn, who's with me? You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm by myself. Does it even matter to be here anymore?
Social media amplified the cruelty in ways previous generations of artists never had to endure. Where past controversies might have blown over in a few weeks, Twitter kept the Lil Mama incident alive indefinitely.
Facts.
Every few months,
And they still keeping it alive, bro. I didn't think to do this reaction off the top of my head, man. I'm on TikTok today. I'm just scrolling. And a clip from this video popped up. And I said, oh. So I looked up the title that was on the TikTok on YouTube, and this video came up. I said, I'm going to react to that today. That's how I found this reaction. They still keeping that alive, man.
the video would resurface, generating new waves of memes and mockery. The cruelest irony was that Lil Mama had to become friends with her own humiliation. As social media evolved and the incident became part of internet culture, she had no choice but to laugh along with jokes that cut deep. The alternative was to appear bitter or unable to move on, which would have only made things worse.
Yeah.
Even Alicia Keys, who could have offered grace or understanding, chose to essentially ignore what happened.
So I'm not going to talk about this because the moment was too amazing, and to be able to be in New York City singing, Empire State of Mind with Jay-Z was far more incredible than anything else, and so I would like to just leave that vision in the people's forefront of their mind.
Her diplomatic non-response, focusing on the amazing moment rather than acknowledging Lil Mama's humanity, reinforced the message that preserving the performance's legacy was more important than showing compassion to a young woman who had made a mistake. The conspiracy wasn't coordinated or explicit. It was something much more powerful, the industry's collective decision that Lil Mama's career was an acceptable sacrifice to preserve the respect and authority of more powerful artists. Jay-Z didn't need to make phone calls or issue ultimatums. His displeasure was enough. His silence was the loudest statement of all. 15 years later, Lil Mama has found peace through faith and perspective. She refuses to give Jay-Z or anyone else the power to define her worth or control her narrative. But the cost of that night in 2009 extends far beyond her individual career. It revealed the brutal realities of power in hip-hop culture. Industry insiders knew exactly what had happened and what Lil Mama should have done to survive it. She should have immediately capitalized on the attention, released new music, and turned the controversy into momentum. But that would have required treating her genuine emotional moment as a calculated publicity stunt, which felt like a betrayal of her own integrity.
I spoke to a very well-established actor who told me that the only thing I did wrong after 9/13 was not put out an album. You should have put out an album to capitalize off of it. And I was like, that's everything but what I wanted to do, because it truly was a genuine stance.
Instead, Lil
But
Mama
it was
chose
a genuine stance to you. It was only a genuine stance to you. So once you woke up that next day and you saw that shit was not genuine in the eyes of the world, of other artists, of the people, you should have been like, I might as well just make some money out this shit. Boo, let me go to the studio. It was genuine to you, and it was only genuine to you. Only to you. So yes, you should have got up and made some money out this shit.
Authenticity over strategy. She stepped back from music when she was grieving, refused to exploit her own pain for profit, and prioritized her mental health over her career. In any other industry, these would be admirable choices. In hip-hop, they were career. The lesson was clear: cross Jay-Z, and you don't just lose opportunities, you lose the right to make mistakes while maintaining your humanity. Years later, when Lil Mama auditioned to play Left Eye in TLC's biopic Crazy Sexy Cool, she almost didn't go because she felt defeated by the industry's treatment of her. It took a gospel song, Mary Mary's Go Get Your Blessing, to remind her that her talent was still valid regardless of what had happened at the VMAs.
Yep.
When T-Boz and Chili chose her for the role, it marked the first time since 2009 that major industry figures had publicly validated her talent. The casting was based purely on ability. She reminded them of their deceased group member in ways that had nothing to do with controversy or public perception. But even this victory was bittersweet. By 2013, when the movie aired, Lil Mama had lost 4 crucial years in an industry where momentum is everything. Artists who debuted after her had surpassed her, and the young fans who had once loved lip gloss had moved on to new sounds. The ripple effects extended beyond her individual career. Young artists, particularly young women, and especially young black women, learned that certain lines could never be crossed. The industry's tolerance for mistakes and growing pains was not equally distributed. Today, Lil Mama has committed to being the industry elder she needed in 2009. When young artists make mistakes, she offers guidance instead of judgment. She reaches out instead of turning
Boy,
away.
that blue lip gloss, boy, that blue lipstick lip gloss shows you. It was a different time back then, man.
She provides the fellowship that was denied to her. In 2021, more than a decade after the incident, Jay-Z finally offered public forgiveness during a Twitter Spaces conversation. Of course, he said when asked if he forgave her. That's our sister. Man, we love her. But the forgiveness came too late to save the career that had been damaged in the aftermath. The VMAs incident wasn't just about one night or one mistake. It was a masterclass in how power operates in hip-hop culture. It demonstrated that talent, intention, and even genuine remorse mean nothing if you lack the institutional protection that comes with being connected to the right people. Lil Mama's story is ultimately about survival. She survived the loss of her mother, the destruction of her career, the cruelty of social media, and the indifference of an industry that should have protected her. She survived by refusing to let other people's opinions define her worth and by maintaining faith in something larger than the entertainment business. The girl who walked onto that stage in 2009 was seeking connection and celebration. What she found instead was the harsh reality that in hip-hop, as in life, power determines who gets to make mistakes and who gets destroyed by them.
That's not even just in hip-hop. That's everywhere.
Jay-Z may be the king of New York, but Lil Mama proved that sometimes survival is more valuable than a crown. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.
Man, they ain't let her live that down since that shit happened, bro. They been on Lil Mama ass since. Not as hard as when it first happened, but every now and then somebody bring that shit right back up, bro. Right back up. It was a mistake. I don't feel like her career should have turned out the way that it did because of that. But like the narrator said, it just go to show you who hold power. Niggas got power out here, bro. Got real power. Whether he said something or whether he didn't, he's got power. And that's just what it is, man.